You know, every time you click a button, stream a show, or save something to the cloud, it just works. It feels like magic, right? Well, behind that curtain, it's not magic at all. It's a very real, very physical world of extreme, almost obsessive organization. Today, we're going to pull that curtain back and take a look at the hidden order that actually powers our online lives.
I mean, just look at that. It's so tidy, it's practically a work of art. But this isn't about looking good. No, this kind of pristine order is a fortress. It's a carefully built defense against the constant, swirling chaos that is always threatening to knock our digital world offline.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the physical lifelines of the internet. Then we'll see what happens when chaos takes over. After that, we'll get some real wisdom from the pros in the trenches. Then, we'll uncover the secret weapon of redundancy. And finally, see what the real payoff is for all this careful planning.
Okay, first things first. Let's get one thing straight. The internet isn't some fluffy cloud floating in the sky. It's a very real, very physical thing. We're talking about massive data centers packed with servers, switches, and just miles and miles of actual physical cables. Every single piece of your data has to travel through one of them.
You know, the folks at Vertiv really hit the nail on the head. They call these cables the lifelines of IT, and that's exactly what they are. They're not just wires. They're more like the circulatory system of our entire digital age. And if one of them gets clogged or cut, the whole system can have a heart attack.
So, what happens when these lifelines are ignored? When that beautiful order we saw gives way to, well, chaos? It's not just messy, it's a ticking time bomb. Let's look at the very real dangers lurking in a tangle of wires.
See, this isn't just about being an eyesore. It's a full-on chain reaction. Those messy cables can actually cause signal interference, which means your data gets corrupted. That tangled rat's nest also traps a ton of heat, making servers overheat and fail. And just try getting a technician in there to fix something. They can't even get their hands in. It's a complete and completely preventable disaster.
Like Vertiv says, any little mistake here can lead to catastrophic results. The stakes are incredibly high. So, how do the pros on the front lines stop this from happening? Well, that brings us down to the human side of all this. To maintain that level of order, you need a system. And among the engineers who live and breathe this stuff, there is a surprisingly passionate, ongoing debate about the very first line of defense. How in the world you should label a cable. Now, you're probably thinking, it's a label, who cares? But imagine a data rack with thousands of connections. If you pull the wrong one, you could take a bank or a hospital offline. All of a sudden, that little label is the most important thing in the room. And yeah, people get really opinionated about the right way to do it. It really comes down to two big ideas. On one side, you have device-specific labels. Super intuitive, right? The label just tells you it goes from switch A over to server B. Simple. But on the other side, you have people who swear by serialized IDs. Here, every single cable gets its own unique ID number, kind of like a license plate, and you track everything in a database. It seems like a small detail, but this is a huge point of contention. And here's some incredible wisdom from a data center vet with 20 years of experience. He says device-specific labels are a trap. Why? Because things always move, especially during an emergency, and absolutely nobody stops to print a new label. That means the label is now telling you a lie, which is way more dangerous than no label at all. That serialized ID, though, cable number 00A1 is always cable number 00A1, no matter where it's plugged in.
And the response from the community really says it all. You can just feel the passion here. This isn't just about being tidy. It's about finding a truly elegant and robust solution to a genuinely difficult problem. When somebody figures it out, the appreciation is just off the charts.
But hey, even the most perfectly labeled cable in the world is totally useless if there's no power going through it. So that brings us from organizing data to organizing energy. And in this world, the key word is redundancy. It's the ultimate safety net.
So, what is redundancy? Well, to put it simply, it's about having a spare, or two, or three, built right into the system. A really common way to do this is called N+1. So if your system needs, let's say, 4 power supplies to run, that's your N. You install 5. That extra one, the +1, just sits there ready to take over in a split second if one of the others fails.
And the real hero of the redundancy story is the uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. You can think of it as a personal bodyguard for your electronics. The second the power from the grid fails or even just flickers, the UPS kicks in instantly, using its own batteries to keep everything running like nothing ever happened.
But not all bodyguards are built the same. A basic offline UPS is great for a single computer. Power goes out, it switches on. Done. A line interactive model is a little smarter. It can handle minor power dips without even draining the battery, so it's perfect for an office setting. But for the really critical stuff in data centers, you need an online UPS. This thing is constantly filtering the power, creating what's basically an electrical firewall, giving you the cleanest, most stable power possible.
And these systems can get seriously big. They scale from little towers that can sit under your desk to these enormous rack-mounted systems that can keep an entire data center humming along. It's all about making sure the services we rely on every single day stay online, no matter what happens outside.
All right, so we've looked at the chaos, and we've seen the tools to fight it, from smart labeling to redundant power. So let's bring it all home and talk about the real payoff you get when you choose control over chaos.
Being successful here really comes down to having a proactive mindset, built on these 4 pillars. First, plan everything out before you start plugging things in. Second, build in room for growth because you are definitely going to need it later. Third, design for change because things are always going to be added, moved, or replaced. And finally, follow industry standards. They exist for a reason: safety and reliability.
And the results of all this hard work? They're huge. Order gives you better performance, faster and safer maintenance, and cooler, more reliable systems. At the end of the day, all this obsessive planning isn't just about preventing disasters, it's about building a solid foundation you can use to grow and innovate.
So the next time you save a file to the cloud, or jump on a video call that just works, maybe you'll think about that hidden world holding it all together. Will you think about that immense physical order, the perfectly labeled cables, the redundant power, the obsessive planning that makes it all possible? Because that right there is the true hidden hero of the internet.